Prior to the 90s, most Indians were limited to a single channel broadcast on the state-owned Doordarshan network. With liberalization, the options for international, national and local content are now infinite. Today, the average Indian consumer has access to more media and advertising than in any other period in the history of our civilization. 85% of all urban households have a television, with that number growing at an annual rate of 10%. The average Indian is exposed to over 2 hours of television a day, tuned into one of India's 515 television channels. And ads are not limited to television alone. Billboards, bus stops, auto rickshaws, cricket stadiums. Ads are everywhere. One of the perceived benefits of such an abundance of Western content is a noticeable change in the depiction of women in advertising. Over the past couple of decades, audiences have been exposed to women in strong and independent roles in the media. This propagates the sense that Western modernity and an increased presence of the free market promotes gender equality in a country notorious for vast inequalities between men and women. Take, for example, this Levi's ad, where these young women leave behind their male counterparts to take on the road themselves. Or this ad, where an urban wife is more interested in playing soccer with her husband and son rather than being relegated to the kitchen. However, a closer look at the vast array of advertising an Indian audience is exposed to paints a different picture. One that actually reinforces the patriarchy and negative attitudes that have existed in this country for generations. Sometimes subtly, sometimes overtly, women continue to be depicted as submissive, nurturing caregivers more involved with reproduction and household chores than their own independent needs and aspirations. Jean Killbourne, a pioneer in the field of the representation of women in the media, has said on numerous occasions that ads sell more than products and services. They sell models and ideals of family, work, love, sexuality, success, but perhaps more subtly of all, ads sell normalcy. They aim to communicate who you are and what you need in order to be who you should be. This video examines various Indian television ads to get a better understanding of the representation of women in the media. Ads continue to relegate women to stereotypical roles within the house. In this classic from the early days of Indian television, a perplexed housewife needs to find a perfect beverage to help her husband relax after a long day's work. In this more recent commercial, a wife needs to stay up late cooking for her husband because he refuses to eat the airline food.
And serve with a gentle
Even when women are shown as strong personalities, they are still reinforcing roles of housewives and caregivers, like in this ad for the Xbox 360. These ads not only reinforce stereotypical roles of women, but also aim to justify male neglect of their roles as a member of the family. In this ad, a father's choice to drive around in his new car and miss the birth of his child seems perfectly natural to the women in the video.
Now men will make everything else wait.
Another reinforcing aspect of Indian advertising is telling women that they are physically imperfect enough to have to spend enormous amounts of time, money and energy to look like the models in the advertisements they come across. How else will they be able to attract that perfect man? The catch, of course, is that no one can achieve these looks. Not even the models themselves, who have been made up, airbrushed, photoshopped, edited, retouched, and edited again to ensure a realistically unattainable level of perceived beauty. And since the ultimate goal of this consumption is unattainable, it ensures the consumption does not stop. One of the more noticeable effects of such sudden exposure to international media is Indian media's adoption of Western ideals of beauty as universal. Young, thin, fair. Indian advertisers have successfully sold the idea that being fair equates to being beautiful. Fair and Lovely has been the face of this phenomenon. It has resulted in ads where a woman is refused her dream job till she gets fairer. And another where a father laments the lack of a son to take care of him financially. His daughter chooses to use Fair and Lovely to get a job and make her father proud. And fairness products don't stop with creams. They range from soaps that get your co-workers to notice you to even blood purifying tonic. Here, the performer's tonic makes her fairer, giving her the confidence to interrupt a rally for women's rights to say,
Pooja, कहाँ हो तुम? I'm so bored. I'm going home. मुझे बाहर वाली गेट के पास मिलना. Thanks यार. Chill.
And if you fall short of the advertiser's standard of beauty, you are simply mocked. Katrina Kaif here wins the approval of her male director only after using a hair removal paste. Some might argue that they simply don't pay attention to ads and hence they don't have any influence on them. The reason we don't believe we are influenced by advertising is because an ad's impact on us is designed to be quick, sleek, and to a large extent, subconscious. Studies have shown that a mere 8% of an ad's message is actually received by the conscious mind. The rest is absorbed by the subconscious. Research states that such representation of women in advertising not only affects their self-esteem, but also affects the way men perceive women in their day-to-day life. In fact, the constant portrayal of women as objects in order to sell products only serves to reinforce the notion that women are objects in the male psyche. Another classic from Indian television is the original Lidl commercial, where a scantily clad performer splashes in a waterfall in order to sell a bar of soap. A woman's body works at selling not just soap, but also orange juice, chocolate, soft drinks, laptops, jeans, deodorant, and of course, coffee. This creates an atmosphere where violence against women is at an all-time high. According to the Home Ministry's National Crime Bureau, a woman is molested every 26 minutes, raped every 34 minutes, and kidnapped every 43 minutes. While a single ad cannot be held responsible for violence against women, reinforcing that women are mere objects dehumanizes them and helps in the justification of violence against them. Advertising is so pervasive that it serves to reinforce a reality where women are constantly devalued and looked upon as tools in a man's world. This reality is not only tolerable but acceptable. Promiscuous women throwing themselves at unassuming strangers has been a male fantasy that continues to be milked by the advertising industry. In this ad for a deodorant brand, a traditionally dressed woman busy with household chores is compelled to seduce a stranger next door based on the way he smells. Women are aggressively seduced for products in their possession. Stereotypically feminine characteristics expressed by men are mocked, showing contempt for things perceived to be feminine, and women appear and disappear based on what deodorant you use. Even when you take a closer look at advertising that is aiming to depict strong, independent women, you begin to notice reinforcement of stereotypical roles and the objectification of women. Like in the Levi's ad shown at the start, although these women seem to be rejecting the role of men in their life and take off on their own, the camera focuses on specific aspects of their body, making the individual in those genes almost irrelevant and merely an object of physical gratification. For one, be aware and pay attention to signals you are receiving from the media. Understand that these signals and their consequences affect us all. As Killbourne repeatedly warns, the pursuit of an imaginary ideal of beauty and the potential for violence against women are nothing short of public health concerns. These concerns can only be addressed by changing the environment we live in, entering into conversations about these topics and making them a public priority in this country. In the end, we aren't working to change advertising in India, but the attitudes they promote. The more we think of ourselves as citizens rather than consumers, the more the environment will change. What is at stake is our country's ability to say that we are better than this.